So for the guys who are new, we tend to have 3 meetups every quarter. And we tend to have a focus for each of those meetups. So for the first meetup of every quarter, it tends to be where we discuss what is the plan for this quarter, what we achieved in quarter 3 and what we're going to do in quarter 4, and to get a view of how things are going to, or what new features we can look forward to. The second meetups are around some ideation where we play around with these cool new ideas and these cool new features, and we just meet up as a community. So it tends to be a lot more fun. And then well, it's not to say that all meetups aren't fun, they are all fun, but then our third meetups are then our demos, where we show what we've built in that quarter, what the community has built within that quarter. So that's the tend to be our cycle within these meetups. Cool. We tend to also have some values that we tend to encourage in the community, and how you can apply them within tonight's meetup is basically to get involved, just share. You can share jokes. If you have a question, a thing, please feel free to unmute yourself, ask, discuss, talk, chat. And then if the guys have a demo or something that they would like to build, please, we really encourage you guys to give some feedback on how these guys are building, because we are building things that haven't been built before. So any help and iteration around that would be really great. Yeah, that's about the sum of the whole thing. So for tonight's agenda, Hennie and Wayne are going to walk us through what they've been building in the last quarter. Hennie's got this really cool demo that he wants, that's been begging to show to everyone, that he's really excited about. Then I'll then do a few use cases of how we can use the new features that we've come across within the community. So there's some really cool ones. I think you guys will find some interesting stuff there. And then community some feedback, where we ask you guys to give us some feedback on the event that you have tonight. We'll give you guys some swag. If you do, well, I'll pick some guys out of the feedback. You can win some swag. And then also, I'll give you some feedback on what we're doing for our board event for this quarter. I think you guys are going to be really excited, but by the guess of it, you guys already know what's going to happen within the board event. And then there's another way to win some swag. So that little dino rider, that little picture of that little dinosaur that you see there, if you can spot how many you spot within the presentations tonight, and just send me a message or a thing, I'll send you some swag. Does this one count? No, it doesn't. So yeah, sorry, Vince. Cool. Happy with the agenda? Anything you guys want to add, delete, remove? Happy with it? Thumbs up. Cool. Hennie's happy. Everyone's happy. Cool. Okay. Cool. So starting off with Hennie and Wayne. Wayne, you guys ready? Oh, and just as a reminder, guys, because these are live demos and all of that sort of stuff, things can go wrong. If anything does go wrong, we will come back to it, or we will stick around, but there shouldn't be anything wrong. It's Investic. It's all good. Okay. Cool.
Cool.
Wayne? Yeah.
Yes. Click. And Nick will be clicking for me.
I'm clicking.
Okay, you're clicking.
I'm clicking.
So every time is my challenge is to find a quote that sort of describes either the quarter we were in or the quarter we're going into. And I thought this one was quite good this time around, because these things we are doing look quite simple from the outside, but they're highly complex things. Things like building a transfer API in a bank is a highly complex thing. So although these changes maybe look like we're going quite slow, we're taking one careful step at a time. These are really impactful changes, and I believe they will open the gates for more bigger things to come. Obviously, in a bank, you have to process a lot of things. Banks are very risk conscious. So every time we get something new out that, like, for example, the transfers now, I think it's a big win for all of us, because that like starts to open up the gates to let other things also start to happen. Okay, Nick, click.
Click.
Click. Okay, so our main focus for quarter 3 was getting transfers built. Transfers being moving money between your own Investec accounts. Why that was so big for us is because, like, up to now, we've been focused very much on data collection or data pulling, so giving you access to your data. What we're starting to do here is saying, how can you actually start doing events with Investec or interacting with Investec to facilitate the movement of money? So obviously, everybody would want, like, third-party payments and amazing stuff. But I think these are the building blocks for getting to a really good transactability with Investec, just because there's a lot of risk and governance things behind the scenes. Before I go to the root endpoints, I think at this point, we want to give Hennie the chance to demo his 5-year project for us. Hi, Hennie.
That's 100% right. So I'll give some context in terms of why this thing has been so close to my heart and why I'm really excited to gooi. So probably back in 2016 was one hackathon at being part of the then digital channels, almost founding members there. Realized that voice, I think, is a viable future channel or interface, and started the process of trying to see, can we do transactional banking via voice? 3 hackathons later, 6 years later, I think technology from a NLP perspective and from Investec in terms of the Transfers API has now caught up in order to make this possible. And I think once the Transfer API got introduced, it literally took me probably about 2 hours to do something that I couldn't do 3 hackathons, 24 hours a day, or 24 hours. And yeah, so I'm personally quite excited about the Transfers API because it allowed me to do something that I haven't been able to do for 6 years. Cool. So the demo that I'm going to just go through is, hey Siri, make a transfer. If she doesn't listen now. Let me just quickly click. Can you guys see my screen? I think so. Sweet. So in terms of finding a quote, the human voice is the most perfect instrument of all. And I really believe that I think voice is a very viable interface going forward. And I think technology is catching up. In terms of, sorry, am I clicking? So yeah, so that picture was that first hackathon, or that 2016 hackathon. We couldn't get stuff working. So yeah, so what I want to do for myself was to be able to very quickly transfer funds from a savings account or from any account, bond account into transaction account. Reason for that, I'm trying to keep my transaction account low because low interest rates, and then top it up as soon as I want to swipe, etc. And logging into the app, etc. was for me was a bit cumbersome. Using the Investec external API, specifically the transfer capability, and then using Siri and iOS shortcuts. Cool. And guys, if there's any questions up until now, just shoot that. So basically how it works, shortcuts on iOS 15 have improved quite dramatically. There was a couple, it was very clunky up until now, and I think they've added a couple of nice features that makes it real interesting. So it basically just authenticates against the Investec API, pulls accounts to get specifically the nicknames and the account IDs, and then executes a transfer via Siri make a transfer. So before, yeah, let me quickly just gooi the demo and see if this works. So you might want to just flip the screen. Hey Siri, make a transfer.
1 sec. Still working. Something went wrong. Please try again.
Try this again.
It's always the way.
Always. Hey Siri, make a transfer.
On it. From which account?
Savings.
Which account?
Private bank account.
How much?
100 Rand.
Are you sure you want to transfer 100 Rand from savings to private bank account?
Yes.
On it. Transfer done.
I'll show you guys the SMS now just to be sure that it wasn't just smoke and mirrors. But yeah, so that was probably about 2 hours work in terms of getting it slick. Then I did a bit of a hack on Investec Online. In order for Siri to recognize multiple versions of the account, I piped delimited the nickname of my account, so check private bank account PBA, so she knows which account is which account. So it works. Probably not 100% the best, but it makes for interesting variations. And then basically just from a short, it's literally all been done through shortcuts. I wrote a couple of tests, modularized the shortcuts, and basically have the main shortcut to that does the transfers. What I'll do afterwards, I'll share those shortcuts. I think that just the Auth Investec one asks you to input your client ID and secret, and basically it's ready to go. I think what I wanted to highlight is the ask for text feature or action in the shortcuts is very powerful in terms of allowing you to if you want only numbers, or if you want currencies, or if you want names, etc., it does that filtering for you and then brings that text in as you want it. And yeah, just some challenges. iOS 14 and below, relatively clunky. I think they've made it quite interesting from a iOS 15 perspective. And yeah, the shortcuts that I'm going to share is not compatible. Some of them are not compatible with 14 and below. And questions?
It's maybe also worth noting, Hennie, that if you have multiple shortcuts, it is going to ask you to allow there's some authorization between shortcuts. So if a shortcut calls another one, it needs to be authorized. So you'll get prompts the whole time, but it's only the first time you use it.
Yeah, thanks, Hennie. Yeah.
Do you guys know if there's an equivalent service for Android devices?
So from a voice perspective, I don't know. I know Llama is probably it's definitely more feature rich than Siri shortcuts. I don't know how the Google Assistant integration to Llama works that much, but it should be possible. Yeah.
Is there a way to protect some sort of environment variables or something like that within Siri shortcuts, or are we just posting keys and secrets within the shortcuts? So
the way that you share shortcuts, you tag those fields that's almost for the consumer or for the guy that you're sharing with. You're tagging those fields, and it won't save those fields, and you then basically when you share it, when you import it, it just then asks for those details. The best way to share almost environmental variables on shortcuts is through either hard coding it in a specific shortcut. So like you saw, I had a modular one there. So basically have those environmental variables and then call that to pull your variables through, or use the clipboard. So those are the main things that I've seen.
I think Brett also mentioned that for the Samsung devices or Android devices, there's Google Assist. Maybe you can play around with that. Maybe that will work.
Yeah, it's because of the way that Google Assistant works. You can set up your a private. I think it's dialogue flow. Probably the best one that I've used. But it's also a bit clunky. It's more feature rich, but it's like I mentioned. I spent a couple of hackathons trying to get it sorted.
Oh, cool. Thanks, man.
Any other questions?
I think for now, guys, if you do have, there's in the chats on Slack, Hennie's there. So if there's anything more, please feel free to tag him there. Cool. Let's go back to Wayne. Are you ready, man?
Okay, so that was a very nice demo of Hennie. I'm glad it worked. I remember the first hackathon, it worked until he demoed and then it didn't work and they were disqualified immediately.
Oh, it sucks.
So it was such a downer. So I'm glad it finally works after all these years.
I literally had flashbacks from then when the first one didn't work. Yes.
It's the curse of Hennie.
Okay, Nick, just go back one.
Sure. Click.
Okay, just something else that we put in is that expose endpoints for programmable car features. Now that's very long wording to basically say you can update your code on your car now without using the IDE. So we basically let you through the API log in, send code, publish code, run a simulator, do all the stuff, pull the logs from the car transactions, all of those things programmatically now. We found that the interface is a bit clunky when you have more than 1 or 2 or 3 cars. So when you start to get into like a lot of cars, it becomes quite a pain. So we just thought, why build the IDE when we can just let people publish their code from whatever IDE they prefer straight into root itself or whatever the root engine. Okay. Both of these are live, but they're still in a bit of a closed beta thing for now, but they'll be available very, very, very shortly. We're just finding out some last minute stuff.
Very shortly.
What is shortly? Like
Yeah.
next week, let's go with that. No. It's out for next week.
The programmable cards endpoint, the programmable card stuff is live.
Oh, is it live? Okay.
The documentation is up. It is literally just so the transfers API is live, and yeah. So, but at this stage, it's a very close beta group. So after I'll give some explanation at the end of the after Nick spoken about the build event, etc., of how we can get access to it.
Okay, click. Okay, so for Q4, just in context, this is always a very short quarter. So there's some stuff that we were working on that's coming to finality. It's not a big extensive list, but I think they're very nice things. Okay, click next. So first of all, I'm sure you've all looked at our amazing documentation up to now. It was a bit of a hack job we did when people wanted the API 2 years ago. So it's a bit clunky and horrible and all over the place. We've been working to rebuild the dev portal. So the screenshots you see there, they're not final, but they're like semi-final versions of what the new dev portal will look like. So you'll be able to go there, typical things on a dev portal, get the documentation, get some use cases. There'll be links there to the community, all of those things. So we're really excited about that because I'm always embarrassed when people ask me for my API documentation and I send them that link we have, which is just embarrassing. But anyway, so we're getting there. We're starting to up our game around documentation for external developers. Okay. This one will probably be live at beginning December. Just in case from timelines. Okay, next.
Just also worth mentioning that it includes both the documentation for SN UK now in one site.
Yes.
So you don't have to know the URL to get to the SA stuff.
Nice.
Okay, and then I think the big focus for us for Q4 is going to be this. I just put this picture up from three-legged OAuth. I don't know if everybody knows why it's there and why it's important. I think the next slide talks about why. Basically, what we want to do is allow other investor clients to start authorizing third parties to use their data on the API. So the three-legged OAuth thing, it's a mechanism that allows you to do that. You basically, from a simple user journey point of view, your third-party app will redirect you to an Investec website. You put in username and password. You'll say, I'm authorizing this third-party app to do X, Y, Z. You hit OK, we pass the MAC token, and then they communicate to us on your behalf with that token going forward. So why is this important? I think, click next. So up to now, when we started, we built both programmable card and the API very much for the developer community, but we quickly realized that although it's great, what is happening is people can only build apps for themselves. So you can't go build an app and give it to your family to play with, or build an app or give it to somebody else to play with, because there's no way for other investor clients to authorize you to build stuff or authorize you access to their stuff. So you can build a spend tool for yourself, but you can't build a spend tool and share it with other investor clients. This mechanism provides the infrastructure, basically, we need to start doing that. So you'd be able to build an app and then using three-legged OAuth, get other investor clients to authorize your app to access on their behalf, if that makes any sense. So the big challenge for us here is just the vetting process. Obviously, like every bank in the world, it doesn't just allow any app to connect to its APIs. It has to do some level of due diligence to make sure that the apps connecting are of a appropriate security standard, the keys are safe, all of those things, just so that like we don't have apps that are stealing or getting credentials from clients and doing dodgy things with them, basically. So that's a bit of a work in progress. So technically, I think we'll be done before the end of the year. The due diligence process might be a bit of a pain. It might be a bit cumbersome for the individual, but we're trying to optimize it to make it as efficient as possible while covering all the relevant tick boxes. And I think that just opens up opportunities to for us to think broader than just an app that is built for ourselves as a dev community. We can start building things that other investor clients could potentially use. And you could do some really cool stuff there. I think it opens up between the transfers and this, it really opens up the possibilities of what we can do. So although it's very technical, I'm not going to go into too much more detail. And it's not that exciting for most people, but that is where we're going to be very much focused on for Q4. Okay, click. I think that was it. Oh, okay. So just some other things that are coming, beneficiary payments. So obviously transfers let you move money between two of your own accounts. Beneficiary payments would allow you to move money to an authorized beneficiary on your account. So that's sort of the start of moving money outside of your own internal ecosystem as a client. It works very similar to transfers, except obviously when you go and add the beneficiary, the risk controls are on the adding of the beneficiary. So you won't be able to add a beneficiary on the API. You'll have to go into Investec Online, do your second factor, add the beneficiary, and then through the API, you can initiate those payments. So that just stops you from somebody from hacking your account and moving money outside like a third-party payment. So this one it's a bit more tricky than transfers, but we believe we can pull that off before the end of the year. So secondly, the root engine. So we've had lots of usage on it. We've started to, over time, realize that the way we are dealing with decline events in the engine is a bit clunky right now. So currently what happens is we send you an after transaction event if this declined. It doesn't really tell you in detail why it's declined and things. So it's a bit hard to figure out if your card gets declined, what's happening, all of those stuff. So what we're putting in, initially there was a after decline event. So that event will get triggered obviously when your card gets declined for some reason. And then we would attach some more metadata into that event to tell you exactly why the card, well, not exactly, but give you a good idea why the card was declined, whether it's a bad code or a pause or your balance or something else that's wrong. Another thing, we always take the opportunity, I don't know if everybody does this, to over the Christmas period when everything's a bit slower to just do some technical backlog work. So we have like versions of Node that are out of date now and stuff like that. We just need to go clean up. So it's not very exciting, but I'm sure you all have sympathy with us that technology moves and we constantly have to just stay up to date with these latest versions because all the old ones always have some security flaw or something that we need to do. And then virtual cards. This one has been a super struggle. We are, every week goes from very optimistic to just heartbroken and despondent, but like we're going to keep on batting. And I'm hoping we'll start to see some good movement around virtual cards before the end of the year. Okay. And that's it. Like just short and sweet. I think the key focus for us now is to just go and put in three-legged OAuth, finish the payment stuff with the beneficiary transfers, and then just do some technical cleanup work before the end of the year.
Not a question, but Wayne, I could kiss you.
Why? Transfers.
Beneficiary payments and
Beneficiary
transfer.
payments. Yeah, no, it's been a challenge, but I'm super excited for beneficiary payments. I think transfers was the big one because that got us over the hurdle to let people talk back to InvestX. And I think there's some really exciting stuff we're going to be able to do next year. Beneficiary payments being the first of it.
Yeah, I'm excited. Payroll can finally be automated.
Yes.
With that and OAuth, one of the things that I used to have set up on Capitec on their triggers thing before they discontinued it was a very, very simple flow that just when I have more than a certain amount of cash in my account, automatically puts a bunch of it into an investment so I'm not tempted to spend it. And that was such a fantastic thing to have, and I can't do it anymore.
Yeah, that talks very much to any use case. Like if you're at Investec, we all know about this. We have a, I don't know, I'm just going to say it. We have an account called the Prime Saver, which is a savings account, really good interest. So we all move our money into the Prime Saver, and then you keep your credit or your balance on your private bank account just enough to pay the bills and things. And we've always said we want to build something, Hennie, that will like start automating that so that when you swipe, it basically just moves the money to keep your balance at a certain level. Sounds very similar to what you're saying, Evans, which is really good stuff, like because it can really optimize your money for you. It's not like just lazy money lying there and getting bad interest because you're too lazy to move stuff around constantly. Any other questions? Just check the chat.
Yeah, there's nothing.
Can I ask the question? I think I'm thinking this is very cool roadmap coming forward, but where's webhooks from the future roadmap? I know it's a common question, but is webhooks still on the roadmap for next year?
It's on the roadmap for next year. So let me give you the history of webhooks here. So we initially obviously built in just the IDE with all of those things. What we saw people starting to do, which was amazing, is actually just do a call out from their JavaScript into some external system and then start using those events however they want to. So it quickly became apparent that it's a bit clunky to go and put anything in there. We probably need to just expose those events. I think it's still on the roadmap, but as things happened, like if we had to pick between transfers and webhooks, transfers won hands down, whoever we are. So it was just a priority thing. I think we are still looking at webhooks in the future. What I would like to do is not just do webhooks for card. I would like to do webhooks for more than card. At least then you're not getting a like for like. So maybe transactions hitting your normal account without card, that would be another nice webhook to get access to. So we're thinking a bit broader around webhooks, but it's definitely on the cards right now. But they are like, and there is this workaround that a lot of people have built already to just basically use the JavaScript to call out. It's almost like a manual webhook. So if you have a use case, you can just almost do that one.
Yeah, there's a couple of workarounds, but yes, this is fantastic. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
There's anything else, please feel free to ask in the chat. And then we also have the Slack group that you can also continue the discussion there about it if you guys want. Is anything else? Happy? Cool. We'll move on. So a few use cases essentially. So for this cool new feature. So we've spoken about a couple of them, which we'll go through now, but let me just jump right into it. So as we all have quotes, so I thought I wouldn't feel outdated. I'll also put in a quote myself. So this is from an open source or a big proponent of open source. He says, you get what you pay for. Everyone gets what you pay for, and you get what everyone pays for. So this is kind of the epitome of community, essentially, from my point of view, is that we all give because we all share and we all benefit from everyone else's experience and learn things. So I kind of like that quote. So why do we have a transfer API, well, I'm preaching to the whole choir here. So it's basically, it's for the security. You maintain your security and you reduce your chance of attack. So rather than trying to log into your bank account and do stuff there, you can do it through the API. Yeah, I know. So in the whole integration, you're connecting it up with that, with different devices and apps, and it's just simpler to use for a developer in the user point of view. And then also because we've been begging and asking for it for a while. So a few use cases. One, the most basic one, is that if you do find yourself, how do you build that habit of just putting money aside every month? Do you put a set amount and you put it into your budget and put it aside, or would it be more easier to simply have a piece of code or an app or something that when you swipe the purchase, it just rounds it up to the nearest 10, nearest whatever you want it to be, and puts it into a specific account, your savings accounts or your bond accounts or wherever you want. That creates that habit that you're looking for to save on a continuous thing. And then it just makes it more easier than trying to allocate money every month. Because I know I try to allocate a specific amount every month, but that never gets the correct amount. So another good example would be maybe a spending habit for more healthier ones. So think of it as more of a sin tax. So basically, if you spend money at McDonald's and buy burgers at McDonald's, would you buy that burger if it's 40 Rand or 50 Rand? I have no idea what a McDonald's burger costs, so please forgive me. So if it's 25 Rand and you suddenly are trying to pay it for 40 Rand, and that money gets put into an account that you can't touch, it essentially is going to cost you that amount. So maybe it makes more sense. Yeah, that's a cool example, Vince. Yeah, pay bills every something remaining above the threshold that goes to a fixed deposit. Yeah. I like that. So that can act as that point of view. Another good example that I came across was debit order that's all going off your account. This was actually a good example from Cole. Cole did the crypto What's demo last month, and he was actually just talking about how, if he spends for a vendor, how much I spend on a vendor, would it, the balance gets clapped a lot quicker. Maybe there's a specific time or specific trigger or at a specific level that it automatically just transfers funds from your main account to the account that you use to pay vendors or suppliers or services or whatever you want it to be. So that reduces your risk of debit order bounces and it improves your credit profile. And also make sure that there's always money in the account so you don't have to have a problem there. This is one that we just saw now with Hennie. So Hennie was talking about what is a better way of banking, so through your whole IoT devices, can you do it through voice? Can you do it through other ways? Are there other ways of banking rather than trying to log into a banking app? So that's actually something else that reduces the friction of trying to log in screens and authenticate and And then this one I kind of like, and it's very clever and it's very smart. So it's a bit of maths and a bit of just thinking about your wealth future and everything else. But there's been some cool community projects that the guys have done before on programmable banking around looking at their wealth projections and how, because if you spend 20 Rand on a McDonald's burger, how much is that going to affect your pension in 30 years? This would look at maybe your wealth management or your treasury, essentially, to say, is there a way to automatically move your money to the best interest savings account or your bonds at a specific point in time? So as Wayne mentioned, on moving it from a prime saver to, another account and back and forth, or can you make this more smarter and work it around there? Do we see an integration into 91 potentially? Don't know. Hennie, Wayne, do we see an integration?
Okay, cool.
Oops, I was trying to type really quickly and I misspelled everything, but it is 91 split with us and they're like a separate legal entity now. We don't actually have access to anything. It's like asking whether there's integration to Checkers. It's like, it's a separate company now, so we don't have any access to their stuff,
Right,
which is sad. In the old days, it used to be quite amazing because I used to just transfer all my rewards into like unit trust.
yes, yeah. I was thinking very similar to this, that if you really wanted to be super mathy and super technical, you can look at doing risk-based sort of profile-based investment. So the idea is you've got $500 extra, but you have a split between this unit trust and this unit trust and this money market, and you have a weighting for each of the collective scheme accounts. You can allocate $500. That means $200 goes to this account, $300 goes to this account, or the split between them based on the model that you want to balance towards. Very, very sort of cool idea. But if you don't have integration with that anymore, it makes sense that we just have to do it the old way.
We could potentially look at maybe, I don't know, Hennie, but I'm not promising anything, but looking at actually integrating into wealth and investment though, because they do have unit trust, they do have stock funds, things like that. So to automatically move money into your BDA account potentially. But that's, yeah, but let's not promise anything. We'll have a look at it because that actually is a quite a good idea. Gives you more options than just money market funds.
Yeah, if you're a long-term investor, there's better things than money market.
Definitely. If there's any more that you guys can think of, I'll encourage you, either you keep it for the ideation whole session that we'll have the next month, or if you want to share it now, that's also cool. But yeah, that's some of the examples, the most basic examples that I've come across. There's some really cool ones, from the simple ones to the more complex wealth management ones, so the gambit is really wide on this one. Cool. Hey, Adam says, I'm imagining an agent that automatically just passes in invoices you receive by email and just asks you to confirm the payment. Oh, that's pretty cool.
Pretty cool idea.
Oh. Cool. Thanks, Adam. If there's anything else on this one, we can move on. Guys happy? Yeah, cool. Wayne's nodding. So community updates. So before I get into the community updates, guys, as I mentioned in the beginning, you can win some swag, just some feedback on tonight's events, what you want to improve, what you want better. Is there anything specific that you want to just talk about for the next meetup? More than welcome to let us know, and you can grab yourself some cool swag there. Cool. So for the board event for this quarter. So I mentioned last quarter that we're going to do a board event. We've been planning and boarding this out for a while now. We've got some very cool things, and I'm sure that you can guess what the theme of this board event is going to be. It's how do you transfer your money more easily? So it's very wide. It can be for you, yourself, your company, whatever, but that's the main theme. We will launch it on the 11th of November. I'll send out the mails with the more details, with everything that you need to do, but very more similar to the structure that we had last in Q2. The little trick here, or not big trick, but the little change here is, rather than submitting your ideas through Google Form, like we did in the last quarter, we'll be using a tool called Wazuku. So Neil, who's in the meetup tonight, he's from Wazuku, we'll be using that platform to just capture those ideas, those submissions of those cool ideas that you guys have and building around. We'll launch that, and then we'll close that on the 3rd of December, and then winners will be announced on the 9th of December. But of course, we'll let the shortlist know ahead of time on the 8th of December to come and attend the meetup to demo their cool solution, essentially. So same way that we did in Q2, each team will have five minutes to demo it. Yeah, and they can win prizes, money, but again, I'll give all that detail when we send out the launch thing, because we want to keep it a bit more secret and exciting. but you guys remember from quarter two, there was lots of cash, prizes, everything that you could win. So yeah, so hope that's cool with you guys. If you're excited about that, please let me know in the chats. If you're not excited, please let me know why. We'll make sure that it is exciting for you to participate in. Okay, cool. Vince, yeah, Vince, my boy. Yeah, I know you will be in on that one. Thanks, man. So our next meetup is going to be on the 18th of November, our ideation session. So remember, I'll send out the invites to everything and the details and everything about the hackathon on the 11th of November, which is the week before that. And then we can use that ideation, that whole session, to play around with some cool ideas and use cases and solutions. We'll make it fun. We'll do mirror boards, breakout rooms, prizes. We'll do the whole kits and caboodle. It's going to be cool. And then you've got that whole month to then until the 3rd of December to board out a really cool solution. And you've seen from Milan put together a little demo in an hour or so. Hennie did a very cool voice activated app. He did that within, I think, 2 hours. Am I right, Hennie? Yeah. And then Milan and Peter are working on some very cool things. So, but we'll keep that more secret again. So you're going to see some cool things happening.
And he's lying. It's 5 years and 2 hours. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, sorry. I'm not.
It was a big lead up.
Yeah, I forgot the emotional time frame there. Yeah, cool. Cool. Any questions, guys? If there's any stuff that you want to talk about, you want to chat about more, please feel free to use the Slack group because we're going to be on the whole night. So yeah, well, I am. I don't know about Hennie and Wayne, but I'm going to be on the whole night. So please let me know. Cool. Any questions? Anything else you guys want to chat about while we got time? Cool. Yeah, we can stick around. We can watch some cats videos. It's all good. Cool. Vince?
As usual, I do have a joke.
Yes. What is your joke, Vince?
How was the Roman Empire split? With a pair of Caesars.
Oh, no, man. Terrible. I'll put my joke. It's terrible. And on that sad note. That's
Gets
so
worse
funny,
every
right?
time.
Wait. The rule is a joke is good if someone laughs. And I always laugh at my own jokes, therefore they're always good jokes.
It's just getting worse and worse. Cool. Yeah, I approve of that too, Richard. Yeah, cool. Thanks, guys. Hey, anything else, guys? Happy, Wayne, Hennie?
I'm good. If there's any
guys.
questions, just let us know. Okay.
Cool.
Cool.
Thank you.
Just
Mm.
sorry, last thing.
Yeah.
If guys or girls want to get access to this pre-developed beta or this group, just mail me or hit me up in Slack, and then we'll arrange.
Cool.
I think
Perfect.
we'll have to do it for everybody that wants to be in the hackathon anyway. So
But if you want early release or early access,
Yes.
just hit him up. We will put all the details in a follow-up post now. And then Hennie's going to give us some links to his shortcuts. And then, yeah, we'll put that up there too, if that's cool. Cool. Happy?
Sweet.
Cool, guys. Thanks, guys. Have a
Thank
great
you.
evening, and thank you very much for attending tonight.
Thanks,
and I
Nick.
hope it was helpful.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys. I'll
Bye-bye.
chat
Thank
later.
you.
Thanks,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye.